Welcome to the Pillar Podcast, where we put racial equity front and center. Join us as we explore equity. We'll take a look at overcoming opportunity gaps and strategies that ensure equitable learning experiences for all students in JCPS.
Welcome to another episode of the Pillar Podcast. This is season 2, episode 2. I'm your host, Ian Brandon. I am here with the Tyson Harbin, Community School Coordinator for JCPS, also a member of DEP.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So welcome. Tyson, you and I, we've been working together, probably 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer?
Yeah, a little bit longer. Started back in November.
Time flies.
Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah, so Tyson, just like myself, JCPS in Louisville native.
Yes.
You went to Western High School, correct?
Yes, Western High, class of 2004. Played a little ball there too as well. So very proud of being a warrior and representing us in a positive light.
Yeah, also 2004 graduate.
Okay, all right.
I did most of my time, my basketball days at Ballard.
Okay.
I can't remember playing Western. I graduated from Wagner in 04, but I can't remember.
Well, in Ballard, we actually played Ballard my senior year.
Okay.
And we actually beat Ballard. Everybody thought they was gonna come in there and blow us out, but we actually beat Ballard my senior year. So we only played them once my whole athletic career at Western.
Yeah, 04. I was at Wagner by then, but
Okay.
transferring. So I'm glad they got the short end of that stick.
Okay, right. Yeah, I did some transferring too. I actually started at PRP my freshman year, and in the middle of the school year, I transferred to Western, moved right down the street from Western. Okay. So of course it was the district.
Makes sense.
Yeah, walking distance from Western. I lived right on Rockford Lane.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
You're right there.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Today I want to talk about community schools, what community schools are, because to be honest with you, before I became a member of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty, I wasn't too familiar with community schools. So happy to have you on and get to learn a little bit more about what you do, not only for the department, but for our students.
Absolutely.
So to kick us off, what exactly is a community school?
Okay, well, a community school is basically, I'll just let you know that we have 6 schools that are considered our community school. Shawnee, Iroquois, Stewart, Fornsley, Mazik, and Miners Lane. Those schools are considered our community schools. And what it is pretty much after school programming. And what we do is provide intergenerational, academic, social, cultural activities, or even recreational activities for that particular school and community as well. So the job is what community schools is pretty much providing after school programming and also some activity and events in the evening that the community can benefit from.
Which makes sense, given that the Academy at Shawnee being one, obviously the satellite office for Shawnee is heavy. The Shawnee satellite office is here, and that's a huge part of my role is providing that access and opportunity for programming and events. So that's one way families benefit from a community school.
Absolutely.
Is there a cost associated with any of the programming that goes on?
No, everything is 100% free for those who want to attend, or even the students that are enrolled at that school. They want to come and join our community schools culture or program. They can just come in and enroll, register. Even the events that are happening later on in the evenings that may be more so geared towards the adults, those are free as well. Those are pretty much taken care of by our department, and it's pretty much just a service that we provide to the community. Yeah.
So what are some of the ways in which you approach getting families to engage and get involved with some of the programs or initiatives that community schools offer?
Well, some of the approaches that we do is, of course, by email flyers, things of that nature. I also have community school liaisons that have a staff that work with me that oversees these programs that and facilitate those programs that may be occurring in those particular locations. So we do a lot of passing out the flyers to the students and the school newsletter. Even also when there's some events coming up about, I'm also sending those through our DEP newsletter, so that way that information can be disseminated through that avenue. And pretty much, when I first got into the role, it was more so about building those relationships. So when I first got into the role, I was out there, I was more so networking, making connections and things of that nature, so that way we can get some of those resources into the community, but also letting the community know that this is what we have going on now. So it's all about building relationships and putting the name with a face, so that way they can actually like, okay, this brother is doing this at this particular. Yeah. It's all about relationships, building relationships.
Absolutely. And so, before my time at JCPS, I was a marketing coordinator.
Okay.
And I know a lot goes into coordinating events. You talked about the community liaison. Well, first of all, what is your role as the coordinator for community schools, and how does that tie in or relation to what's the difference between your role and the community liaison?
Okay. Well, what I do is I oversee the community schools program in its entirety, making sure that I'm getting programs in place for those locations, dealing with the grant side of the things, the budget, things of that nature. And I'm overseeing these, my staff that's actually implementing some of the program ideas that I have within the schools, but also implementing some of their after-school programming ideas as well. So it's kind of like a team effort, but more so I'm more responsible for the whole functionality of the program in itself.
That makes perfect sense. So looking back to I would say, kind of the start of our relationship, our professional relationship, you brought up a conference to me, and I believe it was the National Community Schools and Family Engagement Conference. And I was quite honest, I had never heard of such, but you proposed that to me, and I went on that experience with you in LA.
Great place to have a conference,
It was a great place to have a conference. We had a good time, man. It was very informative. The district there was very engaging, very helpful, very accommodating. What were some of your takeaways from that conference? And is there anything that stuck out to you that you wanted to bring back or have brought back to JCPS?
Yes. Well, one of the takeaways that I got from that is, I would say this, one of the one of the highlights of the trip, of that conference for me, was actually going out to the site visits. I know we all had to go to our own individual site, but I actually got to see what a community school looked like, and what all that it had involved in and whatnot. It pretty much it was like a one-stop shop. You had your food pantry, your clothes closet, you had resource center, they had pretty much everything that pretty much a community would need access to. So my goal and my vision is to have that same structure with our community schools. I know that we're kind of right now, not kind of, but we are working on with the clothing assistance program and trying to move that location. And the hopes is, my vision, the hopes is to pretty much move those locations throughout the city in our school sites. So that way, because right now we have it at one location, and I believe it's at the Central Stadium. But the goal is to move those locations around so that way it can be more accessible to people in other parts of the city instead of having someone come to one particular location. So that was kind of one of the big things. I just noticed that a community school, it really had everything that the community needed right there in that school.
Yeah, that was a well-oiled machine.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it was services, wrap around. I mean, whatever you needed was there,
Yeah.
and it was very seamless.
Yeah, yeah,
Which for me also helped to, I guess, paint the picture of what a community school should look like,
Absolutely,
what a community
absolutely.
school should be providing, just kind of giving more possibilities, right?
Right, right.
Um, as we talk, and some of the things that I find being in the satellite office is providing things of value,
Right.
right? There are a lot of programs out there, there are a lot of initiatives that our communities are aware of, and some that they're not aware of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So I know in collaborating with you, that's something that we strive to do is to continue to provide that access and opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the programs or initiatives that you have going on
Okay.
right now, upcoming.
Okay, well, we have several programs going on right now within our community schools, and what I try to do is make sure that whatever I'm implementing, I'm putting in place, that sometime throughout the school year that they hit each location. So after school programming is more so geared kind of towards the kids because it's after school programming, but we also have some things like family engagement activities or just some things that's geared towards the parent. So that way we won't leave everyone out. So what we have now, for example, we have the Louisville Science Center coming in to each location and doing science expo themes on some on adaptation, animal adaptation, body, weather, things like that. That's more of a family engagement piece that we have in the afternoon and the evenings. Movie nights, family engagement, game night, family engagement. So we having some of these things that, some of these programs that we're putting in place. Also in next month, early next month, we have, we've collabed with the University of Kentucky's College of Agricultural and Food and Environmental Department, and they're going to come into one of our locations and do a 7-week program on food nutrition, right? So they're going to be doing these nutrition education classes with them once a week for 7 weeks, and at the end of the week, whoever attends completes it gets like a certification, and they get, of course, goodies they leave with, you know, kind of cooking utensils, but they pretty much teach you how to eat clean and how to prepare food the right way. So those are just some of the things. Just briefly, I mean, we'll be here all day if I could tell you all the stuff that we have going on, but those are just some of the highlighted things that we have coming up soon. And even like towards, like more things geared towards the parents. We have, we just recently had here Shawnee, that's a credit specialist, a young lady, a realtor and a credit specialist who was from a United Realty Company. She came in and talked about the importance of, you know, buying a home, the process of buying a home, the importance of credit, things like that. So those are the type of things when I'm thinking about what the community needs. It's basically the resources that's going to pretty much maximize the potential of those of the community in itself. So these are the resources that not only do we need, but that they don't know that it's out there.
Correct.
So I'm bringing them inside the community schools. Say, hey, we have someone who's going to be talking about credit. Yeah, I might have someone coming in talking about tax, money management, how to, you know, balance the checkbook. You have no idea how many people I know that's my age. They don't even own a bank account, right? So those things are important, especially if we're trying to advance ourselves in society. So yeah.
And we know, man, it's everything you've touched on from a program and outreach standpoint. It's literally enhancing
Yes, absolutely.
the overall family unit in our communities.
Right.
You know, we talk about the health and wellness, eating better.
Yeah.
Right? We all know, you know, in our communities, what health looks like.
Right. Oh yeah.
What we're suffering from a health standpoint. High blood pressure, diabetes. I mean, the list could go on, right? That financial literacy.
Yes. Yes.
That's a
yes.
huge piece.
Oh my goodness.
And having locations throughout our community
Yeah.
that not only students could benefit from, but also their family.
Yes.
And we know from the data that when families are engaged, student outcomes are better. Right. So yeah, man, I definitely applaud
Appreciate that.
what you're doing.
And our program is not. I know it seemed a little bit more serious that we're going to teach these things that was needed, but we have fun too. You know, we got some. Like I said, we have the Louisville Science Center. We got some. I'm partnering with this company called Inside the Lines, where they do academic enrichment and sports training. So there's your recreational stuff there. We have one of my liaisons is trying to implement a braid bar for ladies.
Okay.
You know, learning how to braid hair and things like that. That is on the way as well. That should be happening towards the end of October, and as well as a step dance team. You know, for the ladies, for the young women too. So we have a lot of things going on that, and I just love my team because they all bring their own ideas in. And just make it happen. So it's kind of like we have a broad of activities and programs that's in the works and that are going on right now as we currently speak.
As you know, the district has, or JCP has, 3 pillars, right? And one of those pillars is racial equity.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how your work in conjunction with your team of liaisons, how is the work you're doing pushing forward racial equity?
Okay.
Like,
Well, it's important to know the locations of our schools, our community schools. It pretty much hits that demographic that suffers from the inequities of our educational system. So that's one way there. So they strategically mapped out so that way we can hit that demographic. So, but what we do is just basically provide access to the resources that they normally wouldn't have access to, or that they need, or that they don't know that's out there. So like the programming, gaming, the programming activities as far as the cooking classes, and then the workshops on financial literacy, trauma. I've even teaming up with the bullying prevention team in JCPS to talk about bullying, you know, things that basically that is going to, I guess, catapult our community further. And like I said before, maximize the potential. So it's all about making sure that they have access to those things, right? And we also take a survey and we send them out to those schools and try to get those to students and parents and say, what would you like to see in your school or your community? You know, so basically hearing that voice so that way we can try to get the things that they desire and need in their community.
and that's important.
Yeah.
That is extremely important. I did some work last year with the family engagement team, and surveying the community was always
Absolutely.
top of mind for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of times we find ourselves in situations where things are being offered that people don't even want.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's definitely important to get that community
Oh, yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Is there a particular way you go about sending out those surveys or collecting that data? Like if someone from the community wanted to share a want or a desire or a need, how would they get that information to you?
Well, that's where my liaisons come into play, and they do a great job of disseminating that information. So, like I said, we getting the flyers through, sending them to principals of that school, and also having to send them around to surrounding schools in that area, and getting them to those students and parents that would like to see, or would like to join the programs, or whatever activities we have going on or be involved in. So it's more so just getting out there, pushing that forward, pushing the envelope forward, and that's what my liaisons do. They do a great job of pretty much getting the information out there. So I had a liaison just recently took a couple of flyers, was going to barbershops and things like that, just especially when we had the event with the credit and then
That's where the people are, right?
Yes. You got to go to the local establishments. Yeah.
So one of the things I like to close out with is getting a little insight as far as inspiration, right? So a lot of people within JCPS, I think just in education in general, may not have always wanted to be in education or may not be actually impacting students from a classroom perspective, right? That's kind of like myself, but who was an educator or someone that inspired you to do the work that you're doing?
Oh man, Dr. Geneva used to be Price, but Starks.
Okay.
She was actually my principal in high school, and I could just remember, man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you know, just growing up being a knucklehead, and I was kind of on the fence of trying to go this way instead of doing the right thing. And I remember time or two, she would pull me to the side, and let's just say she got me together, right? You know, so she would definitely was someone I always looked up to as a mentor, and who I knew that was always invested in the children. So it was because of women and people like her that really invest and pour into the youth. That was kind of she would always leave an imprint on my life, like, you know, a certain impact, because it was times where I would be going through things, you know, the teenage age, and it would be things that she would just, you know, come up talking to and hugging on me and things like that. We even have a picture together in the newspaper. She kind of wanted back in the day, she was being honored for something, or recognized for something, and I was one of the students that she wanted to be in that picture with. So that just kind of gives you the gist of our relationship, what she meant to me, and, you know, and hopefully what I meant to her. But she was definitely a great educator, and still is. And that's someone that I always want to inspire to be like when it comes to serving in this educational realm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know Dr. Stark very well, but I am looking forward to the opportunity to do a book study with her, a community book study with her next semester, or in the spring, rather, next semester. But from my interaction with her, just very humble, very sweet, very smart, forward thinker, strong woman of color.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important to know that, you know, it's educators like that kind of helps people who suffer from the inequities of the education system kind of overcome and help out. Because, you know, it's like we're all told to run this race, right? You know, but we have to understand that there's some people that doesn't even have the chance to come to the start line, right? You know what I mean? Some kids are starting behind the starting line. Some kids are already at the 50-yard dash, right? And then we're told, society is telling us we need to run not only our own race, but at acceptable pace, right? While dealing with the inequities that we endure during this educational process. So my whole goal is to make sure that we meet students where they are and bring them up to par, right? And so that way they can be, you know, academically inclined, and as I said earlier, maximize their potential. So I think that's one thing that I've gotten from Dr. Starks, is that she's always made sure that she tried to get those resources that we need to be successful inside the classroom and out. So that's why she's always going to be like somebody that I look up to and admire. Yeah.
Well, I thank Dr. Stark for having that impression on you, man.
Yes. And if you're watching this, thank you.
It's gotten you to this point, and you're obviously paying it back, paying it forward. So thank you to her, and thank you for the work that you're continuing to do.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
With community schools, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with you the next upcoming event.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, man.
Any last words of encouragement, or how can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to the website, our community schools website. You can go contact me through email, tyson.harbin@jefferson.kyschools.us, and on that website has my office number as well. They can also contact us through the social media, through our DP department. They'll see all our news and events and things like that out there as well. Currently don't have a social media at the moment, but I know that I'm going to get one soon. It's going to be needed.
Coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But so that is going to be the way they can reach me and contact me at this point. They can just go to JCPS website. They can see all where our community schools is, and my email and also office line number is on there as well. And I answer my phone all the time. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, Tyson, it's been a pleasure, my man. Thank you for joining us on
Thank you for having me.
second episode of season 2 of The Pillar, brought to you by the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Poverty. This is Ian Brandon, your host. We'll see you next time.
All right.